Guys, what's going on? Welcome to the Bird Brain Podcast, where the goal is to rise above it all, stay elevated, create that infinity, and up your you. I'm your host, Isaiah, and just had a birthday. And of course, around this time, I'm always reflective and thinking about what's next, but what's come to pass. And I think there are so many thoughts I have right now. Not necessarily bad either, just in terms of taking inventory of what is and yeah, what that looks like and why. And I think it's awesome to have conversations with other people about their birthdays and what it means because, truth be told, while the birthday is another opportunity to kind of celebrate, not everybody's doing that. And there's probably a reason why. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about what I think and go from there. So if you're home, put on your seatbelt. If you're driving, put on your seatbelt. All right, stay tuned. Hey guys, what's going on? Happy April. Happy April. And happy birthday to your boy. Um, yeah, it was a good birthday. It was a really good one. And I have all these little rituals that I like to do on my birthday or leading up to it. For one, I always kind of give myself these little challenges. And by my birthday, I usually try to accomplish them. So whether it's like growing certain things or completing certain things this year. So last year, late last year, I was talking to a friend of mine, my best friend, one of my best friends. I was talking about potentially writing another book. And I was like, this time I want it to be a horror story. And they were like, you should do it. I was like, yeah, you're right. It's like, all right, cool. So by my birthday, I have to have this book written. And I started writing it in the fall of last year. And by March 31st, I said I wanted to have it written right before my birthday. So by April 1st, my birthday, as of this year, I wrote my second book. And it's so funny because when I finally realized that, I was like, man, I did it. I did it. But then looking a little bit deeper is like, but what did you do? Right? Do you realize what you actually did? And sometimes we don't, right? Sometimes I think the idea that we may value ourselves is scary because it feels bad. Like there's a lack of kind of permission. We feel like, is it okay for me to matter? Right? Is it okay for me to have needs? Is it okay for me to have accolades and accomplishments and be proud of myself? Or is that taboo, right? Is that not allowed? Is that not a part of who I am? I'm just supposed to be, nose to the grind and just constantly working at things and never come up for air because that's too much, right? The idea of me valuing myself and treating myself or seeing myself as somebody that matters feels wrong, right? And I want you to ask yourself that. Does the idea of the person does the idea of who I am and what I've accomplished and how much that means, does the idea of that feel wrong? Right? Does the idea that I may be someone of significance Not just because of what I do, but the fact that I am the person that did it. That I may be so damn great. Does it feel wrong? Does it feel wrong for me to matter? To myself, right? Because it's scary. Is like, if I matter to myself, will that make other people angry? Right? Because then I would recognize some things, right? If I mattered, that may mean that I'll recognize where I don't matter. And if I recognize where I don't matter, that means that now there is going to be an awareness and an acceptance of what I feel and think, right? Or the flip side is like, do I just not matter? Do I not see or recognize the significance of who I am? And while it's painful, to me, is it easier to never fully appreciate myself, right? Because if I feel like I'm never enough, then nothing that I do will ever be enough. So therefore, I'll have to keep working, right? There's like we move the goalpost, right? And it's funny, I was talking to my barber about birthdays, and he was like, yeah, it's just another day for me. Like, I don't see my birthday as any significance at all. And to some degree, I kind of get it, but at the same time, so I'm the type of person, I don't have like big birthday blowouts. I like to spend it very kind of quiet, right? And quiet means that I love to fill my day and time with the people that matter most, the people that I truly cherish. Like, I love being able to connect with the people that just mean a lot to me. It brings me peace. Right? That's how I like to do my birthday. I don't need to have, people celebrating me in this big way. That's not it. And it's just cool to kind of reflect and, have memories of birthdays previously, and then this year is going to be a whole bunch of new memories, right? And I get to see them. That's the beauty about social media. Sometimes it's like you can see a track record of what life has been up until this point. And what was I saying? So in that space, there are other people who get birthday depression, right? And I've had that a few times where it's like you have another birthday that comes and you just feel like, damn, I'm not where I should be. I'm not where I want to be. I'm failing. I'm not accomplishing what I'm supposed to. What is life, right? What does life even mean anymore? Because the significance of what I've been doing doesn't seem to add up. Like, the blueprint I have for my life is not necessarily what the foundation actually looks like. And that's depressing. Or you realize that, a lot of relationships that you used to have are not there, right? You've gone through seasons, you've grown, and that can be sad. And then there are some people who, they need to have people around them. Like they have these big blowouts and everything like that because to them it kind of fulfills that or fills that void of them not feeling alone, right? Even though they may, it's like, and I read up on this. This was like, I think it was research actually, where it's like some people, they have these big blowouts, they have all these big things because it allows them to feel, even if it's what's the word, a simulation, if you will, like a simulation of being celebrated, right? And these aren't their closest friends or anything like that, but the need to just kind of have all these people around them and celebrating them makes them feel like they are significant. Even if they don't believe it, they try to recreate that feeling, right? So the birthday, what does it actually mean? It is different for everybody, and why? I've learned over time. I used to, I think as I've gotten older, I've, well, I've kind of always been this way where it's like, I didn't like big things being done. Like, I don't, that kind of attention is just stressful. So, not so much a big, festive kind of person, just like, again, quality over quantity. And, in some ways, that came from the fact that people didn't show up. And it's like, all right, cool. Well, now that I know better, I do better. Right? How can we maneuver? How can we process this? How can we take stock in this information of the fact that, you know, on a very important day, it wasn't prioritized for other people. Even if I may have prioritized those people in return, it wasn't the same kind of energy or effort. Like, what do you do with that? It hits, right? It definitely hits. But how can you use that as information? And it's like, all right, cool. Well, if I know that my birthday is significant to me, and it should always be, because that means that I've lived, right? I'm still here, which means that there's still opportunity for me to do better and grow. Like, and there's still opportunity for me to develop newer relationships, right? This is all opportunity, right? There's another opportunity for me to recognize that I still matter and I still have life to live. There's still something to do. I hear the little birds chirping in the background. I love it. It's like it's kind of meta, but understanding that is a different mind frame of recognition in terms of like what your birthday actually means. And just because other people downplayed you or your significance or your importance or things like that doesn't mean that you are supposed to. Right? Sometimes we are following suit, right? We kind of learn from other people how to treat ourselves because of how they treated us, right? If I've been taught or conditioned to feel like my needs don't matter, that what I do doesn't matter, is never good enough, or whatever, if that's how I've been treated, then I start to believe that's how I deserve to be treated by myself now. It's like, hey, remember, you don't matter. So don't matter, right? Just so we're clear, you don't matter. From what we've been shown and told, you are not significant. So don't act like you are, right? Because that's wrong, right? Being significant is weird, right? That's not okay. You shouldn't do that. And that's not true, right? It's not true. It just that means that certain people didn't see us. But that doesn't mean you have to follow suit, right? That invites, questioning. Look at the people who didn't show up. What do they look like? What do those people look like? How do they show up for themselves, right? And your birthday is like, man, it's not just another year. It's not just another day. I don't agree with that. Birthday is not just another day. It may feel kind of normal, right? It may feel that way, but if you look at it, if you take a step back and look at what another birthday means, right? I look at all the years of life up until now and how colorful they've been, right? How, man, challenging sometimes they've been, how great some years have been, right? There's been a lot of experience in my life on earth so far. I may not always recognize it, but there's been a lot there. A lot there. And sometimes we think that it's safer to downplay our significance, right? Because it doesn't require us to it doesn't require us to deal with the fact that we may be important. I think sometimes we worry that somebody's going to tell us we're wrong, right? If I go into the world and I say, yeah, I matter, what I do matters and all this, there's a potential that somebody may argue us. And that's never really going to happen if you think about it. Somebody isn't going to show up and be like, yeah, you don't matter. And if they do, again, somebody who's capable of doing that shows a lot about them more than it does you. But nobody would ever outright say it. People may move funny around you, but no one's going to say, yeah, you're wrong about the fact that you think that you matter and that you think that you're a person of value, right? We fear that it's on some subconscious level that somebody's going to show up and be like, hey, you're wrong. You don't matter, right? And not just matter to them necessarily, but just matter in general. And I think that's the fear of people who are very impactful, right? Who are very influential, who are very intentional, who are very thoughtful. I think a lot of people walk through this world and they always kind of present themselves as like somebody that, yeah, I do the most for everybody. I'm a caring, thoughtful person or whatever. And then when you kind of look at it, it's like you say this, but how do you actually present that? Right? Sometimes people say things in order to believe it. Sometimes people refrain from saying things because they're afraid to believe it. You get me? And I've noticed that, and I think even in my personal relationships, I know some of the most amazing people. I don't care. That's non negotiable. And that's not really an opinion I have. It's fact. These people, outside of just how they exist in my life, they are amazing people. And that's why I have them in my life, right? Our relationship is the byproduct of who these people are. And sometimes we have these conversations and we're always reminding ourselves of like, wait, you matter. You matter a lot. You're a big deal. You're a big deal in the ways of like you do so much without thought that you don't even realize how much you're doing. And that's a beautiful thing, right? That's a beautiful thing. And truthfully, my birthdays always kind of remind me of that. I have people in my life who remind me that, hey, you just can't kind of coast by. You're not going to get through this life not recognizing how significant you are. Right? And sometimes it's our responsibility to now digest that and accept that and deal with the discomfort of our significance, right? Deal with the reality that the reason why this feels different is because it's a different feeling, right? The feeling of accepting the greatness that you are and the love that you deserve and all. It's different, especially if you've been conditioned to not receive, to always expect very little or expect nothing at all. Then now, you're being challenged to do the opposite. Now you're being challenged to actually value yourself. And it's like, wait, but no, I'm not doing that. That's wrong. I've been made to feel like that was wrong. I've been told in some way, shape, or form that it's wrong for me to value myself because it makes other people uncomfortable. It makes them mad, right? And all it does, it just holds a light up to people that they may haven't been doing right by you. And the fact that you're doing right by yourself or other people are doing right by you, now it sheds a level of responsibility or the fact that they just haven't been showing up and treating you properly, right? There's so much that comes with the idea and reality that you may matter more than you think you do, or more than you may have been shown. And it feels weird. It feels weird because it's like, I don't know what to do with this. This is like a foreign object, right? What if I break it, right? What if, again, I'm wrong? Or what if that eventually runs out, right? You are never going to run out of your significance in this life, right? Your significance is never going to run out. That's not how it works, right? And whether a relationship fails, whether, a job doesn't value, whatever case, doesn't mean anything because you're going to go somewhere else and that energy is just going to be transferred there. You never stop being significant, right? You never stop being significant. We all have purpose, okay? And I think that's just something so invaluable to kind of recognize and sit on. And that's even something I've been like slowly adding to my diet. The level of significance and impact and influence. Like it's you have to digest it and enjoy your food, right? Chew your food. Really sit and digest the idea that I matter in a very big way. And the reason why I matter is because of who I work to be, not just what I do, but just who I am in my essence and my purpose in life and how intentional I am throughout. There's responsibility that comes with being important. There's responsibility that you have in life, and then there's responsibility that comes with you valuing yourself. And a lot of times we are afraid of that responsibility. But that's just something to think about. And that's something I've been thinking about. All right. So just take that with you as you go through your week and your life and your day. And shout out to all my Aries out there. I hope you guys have amazing birthdays. I hope you've had amazing birthdays if they've passed. We just do our thing. All right. So take care of yourselves, y'all. Take care of each other. And of course, take flight. Coaching is available still. I have slots open for clients. If you have any questions, shoot me an email, thebirdbrainpodcast@gmail.com. And I think that's about it. All right. My new book, will be dropping in October, just in time for spooky season. I haven't been writing any night owls because this is why I've been writing a damn novel. And that's kind of been something I've been keeping a secret. But I wanted to share it once it was finally done. So as of April 1st, technically March 31st, I wrote my second book, and this one is a horror fiction novel that I'm really excited to share with you guys. And yeah, I'm just pumped. I'm pumped. This is a new element or aspect of who I am that I've been exploring, or that I'm not necessarily just exploring, but I'm really leaning into. You know, the writing game is something that I enjoy, and I think it's a medium that I've always had in my arsenal, but I've never really given full attention until the last few years. So here we are. All right. Again, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and take flight.